Well, Home Depot issues a warning about the economy now. Now, why is it such a big deal that a home improvement store issues this warning? Well, we'll talk about that a little bit because the economy actually depends on Home Depot doing well. Isn't that funny? Also, we're going to talk about this new communist push that Kamala has started. And on the front side, you think, oh wow, this is going to help so many Americans. But the truth be told, it doesn't, because what it does is overregulate an industry that should not need regulating other than the consumers purchasing or not. Freedom is at stake here. Now, we have a few more stories that we're going to discuss, and also the fact that wastewater now has some mpox in it, and what else is going to happen before this election. Today, let's talk about it. Let's jump in. Hey guys, welcome to the Max. Thank you so very much for being here today. If you are new to our channel, please go down here, press subscribe. Remember, when you subscribe, we give things away each and every month. We're going to be giving away a Genesis Gold and Silver Prep Air bar, which is going to be a silver bar. It's a few $100s worth of value. You need to make sure you're putting up precious metals, and we want to help you by allowing a sponsor of ours, Genesis Gold, to give you a silver bar, a prepper's bar that breaks apart. You can utilize it, a great bartering item. So all it takes is you subscribing to the channel. Give us a thumbs up, comment below, tell us what you think about this video. Now, today let's discuss a few things. First, let's talk about Home Depot. Home Depot issues a major warning about the economy and how when they start seeing numbers in decline, meaning people are not purchasing things to improve their home, what does that actually say? So not just from Home Depot, let's read something from the Kobayashi letter. Breaking, lumber prices have declined to their lowest level since 2020, the pandemic. 80% in just 2 years. Now, why is it a big deal? Remember, during the pandemic, everybody was staying home. It gave them an excuse to fix up their home. They had free money from the government. They were not spending as much because they were not going out. So we saw a major influx in home renovations, home improvements. It says lumber is the leading indicator for the U.S. housing global economic conditions and also inflation. The rapid drop in lumber prices suggests that listen to this, U.S. residential construction and home improvement markets are sharply declining. This has been reflected in new home construction plummeting to a 4-year low. Now this is, again, going back to right before the pandemic where the economy was the strongest under the former president. It says we are now dripping lower than the pandemic numbers. Additionally, single-family housing starts decline to their 4 consecutive month low. The housing boom is now gone. Now, that's what this letter says about how the indicators of our economy works, how we can see when people are spending money or not. Remember, we talk about this economy being consumer driven. They want you to spend money. They want you to go into debt. They want you to improve your home. They want you to pay inflation when it comes to certain items. Remember, they want that 2% graduated income inflation each and every year. It would be nice to have a goose egg, zero inflation each and every year, but that's not how the world works. So what we're seeing now is 80% drop over the last 2 years at an all-time low since 2020 when everybody was renovating their home because they had free money from the government and not going anywhere. This is the economy we once had, which was booming and thriving. Now, 4 years, it's been declining rapidly since 2020. Now, Home Depot comes out and says, we see it. This is an uber billion-dollar company. Do they need your money to make it? Probably not. But what they're trying to warn people about is if we see a lagging economy and people, consumers, buying goods, what that shows is we cannot keep fulfilling the fact of this inflation going up, the fact that the economy is teetering on collapse, and the fact that you have the government who is saying they want to lower the interest rates. Lowering the interest rates when inflation is high and the economy is struggling, don't you think that's going to put us in a massive recession or even a depression? Yes. So we see the indicators of how this is not helping. Now, Kamala comes out with this new plan, and I want you to listen to this because this on the front end, you would think, oh wait, this sounds great. This sounds wonderful. She's going to help grocery stores and goods not price gouge. Now remember, this is a free market society. We live in a capitalistic society. It is consumer driven, like we just said. If lumber is up, cars are up, food is up, it's because we're choosing to purchase those at that higher price. I've told you that before. We are causing a lot of our own problems by keeping on funding things that we shouldn't be purchasing. But the problem is this: when we allow for us to not buy, it fluctuates the market and makes the price go down. When we allow the government to fluctuate the prices, now listen, this is where it comes into not capitalist society or consumer driven, it comes into communist society. When the government says you can't charge any more than this for this item. Now remember, grocery prices have went up astronomical. Is it just to blame on the grocery stores just making billions of dollars? No, they make great money. But do you know what just came out? Kroger says we've only made less than 1% growth over the last year or two. Typically, we would make over 1 to 2%, and we're making less than that. Now, what Kamala and what the Democrats and even Elizabeth Warren are pushing is they want to regulate the pricing of goods. What that means is they want to put more regulation, more cost-effective measures, more tax dollars into regulating what people charge for their goods and what they don't charge for their goods. Now, why is this a problem? Everybody say, oh, that's great. At least we know we're not going to be paying higher prices. What that means is if they can regulate the prices of what someone charges, don't you think that means they can regulate your money more and more? If they can regulate their own government, if they can regulate the private sector, what do you think? You don't think they can regulate the individual? What if they say, well, no, look, minimum wage should be $20 an hour. However, we're going to cap it because these businesses can't make it, and we're trying to keep these prices low on all these consumer goods, so you're not allowed to make more than $30 an hour. You don't believe that's possible when all of a sudden they're saying they're going to pass a law to overregulate a private business from charging what they want to a consumer that's willing to purchase it? Now, this is a catch-22. Do you think that cars should be $100,000? Nope. I said that a few days ago. And the consumer should say, I'm not going to buy it. What will that do? It will make the supply higher, the demand lower, and the price will drop. Because the consumer in a capitalist society is saying, I'm not willing to purchase it. What Kamala and the Democrats are saying is, I want people to buy what they want, so I want them to go in piles of debt and put themselves in more problems, but I want it to be that we regulate what that consumer can buy. Not only that, we want to regulate the private sector for what they charge. So they're going to say, we're going to cap what they can charge. We don't want people to be responsible for their own debt. We want them to pile up massive loads of debt so it makes our economy grow, but we make the top end. We also regulate what you can purchase. We also set the precedent of what the taxes are, and also the fact that if this business wants to make more money, it's not their job anymore. They can only make X amount of dollars. Now, that was a lot thrown at you. What we're seeing is the first signs of what a communist or a socialist society would look like. When the government is willing to give you UBI, when the government is willing to give you reparations, when the government is willing to give you stimulus, however, lower the interest rate to make you feel like your economy is doing great so then you can spend more money that you personally don't have to then turn around and buy goods that the government set the price for. Think about how that could be bad when the government can set prices of private businesses. And think of how that could easily happen to you. They're already telling you what your minimum is. What if all of a sudden they start telling you what your maximum is? Oh, well, no, this job doesn't pay this. We fund the Medicare and Medicaid, so nurses are not allowed to make this amount. They have to cap off at this amount. Well, the teachers, we make sure the teachers are getting raises, but they can't make this much because we've set prices on other things that they can't make more than that. You don't believe that would happen? They put you in your own home for years without you allowed to be moving around the areas to buy the goods you wanted to buy. If they can lock you in your homes, you don't think they can lock down your income to say what you can and can't make? You don't believe they can become the quote-unquote Robin Hood to steal from the rich and give to the poor? You don't believe that that's what they're doing when they say Walmart, Kroger, Home Depot, all your companies, we're going to make you stabilize your own money where you can't make any more money than this because we need people to spend money. It's a falsity, and it makes the economy look like it's stronger than it really is. And you're like, oh no, that price gouging thing won't happen. Why don't you listen to what else Kamala just said? Harris will propose providing up to $25,000 of a down payment to support a first-time homeowner. It's more generous for first-time homeowners, and we want to give back and help them start their life. For some of those first-time homebuyers, they'll be like, oh wow, we get a credit. Do we forget how the government makes money? They take it from the other taxpayers. So what you're saying now is for people who can't afford a home, we want to give them the option to buy a home, and we're going to take from other people to make sure they have money to buy their first homes. You don't believe that they're trying to do UBI and reparations? That's exactly what this is. Look, I've owned 3 homes in my life. 4, excuse me. My starter home, which I had no money, and my parents helped us get. The next home, which was a family home, I got at a good deal. The next home is we purchased because we bought and started building, and we built ourselves. And then on top of that, we had a secondary rental property that I bought from a family member. Got a great deal on. Not one of those situations did I have a government help of $25,000. And is it fair that we would have that if all of a sudden I know that basically what I did is I took other people's tax dollars to pay for my home? Is that fair? If I can't afford to get my own down payment, how is it fair for someone else to pay it for me? Doesn't that kind of sound like this college loan situation? I went to college, my wife went to college, we paid for our own loans back years and years ago. But now we're having to pay for other people's loans because the Biden-Harris administration said, it's our job. That's called communism. That's called socialism, where everybody's got this equitable look to where you can't make any more in the private sector and price gouge. It sounds good, but what it's doing is saying you're not allowed to make more money. At the same time, your money that you are making, you're going to have to give to other people because they need to catch up with you. That is not capitalism. That is not a free society. That is socialism. So it sounds good. We get housing down payments. We get the fact that high food prices for groceries are going to be toppled by the government. They're going to make sure the government puts regulation to stop the raising of prices. What is that going to do? That's going to shutter businesses. It's kind of like the minimum wage thing. California started doing $15, $20, $25 minimum wages. What actually happened is they shut down businesses, and people lost jobs to kiosk, and people lost jobs to self-checkouts, and people lost jobs because the government put their hand into something. Name one thing the government actually has put their hand in that's actually done better. Is Medicare, Medicaid better? Is Social Security, retirement better? Is the fact that anything the government touch better? No. So if we start seeing more government regulations in the way we make money, the private sector, the consumer sector, the fact that they're taking from one group of individuals, taxing them, and giving to another one to buy a home, that is a broken system, and it will keep on being broken, and it will put us in a worse economy than we're already in. That's exactly what Kamala wants. Remember, more problems means for more government solutions. That's what government is good at. Causing a problem for them to turn around and you hold your hand out for them to turn around and help you. There was an interview the other day, and CNN was doing it, and to be honest with you, I think most Republicans were like, oh yeah, this proves the point. Kamala's economy's terrible. Biden's economy's terrible. And what it was they were interviewing minority people, and they were saying, well, we need more help from the government. Government needs to help us more. And what they were trying to do is say this was bad on Biden and Harris. No, what it was actually saying was these people were saying how bad it was, but they wanted government to be the answer. So government caused the problem, but then now they want government to be the solution. You know what the solution is? The private sector. You know what the solution is? Consumer-driven economics. Meaning if I don't want to buy the $80,000 car, I'm not going to buy the $80,000 car. If I don't want to pay that high for prices at the local Taco Bell, I'm not going to shop at Taco Bell. That's called freedom. But when we say no, like I want it, and I want to make sure that you're overtaxed and you keep the prices down so then I can afford it because I need money given to me by the government, and then I'm going to still buy it. Kind of like food stamps programs, instead of giving to the necessities and giving good quality high foods that are good for people to eat, people would rather buy Doritos, Cheetos, and all the other things that are not good for us. It's the same thing. It's a government system that is broken. And when government puts their hands in things, it does not necessarily make it better. So the question comes down to this. You're coming up to election. housing down payments, keeping the prices low at groceries. They're going to spend it to make that sound like that is the best thing. Government cannot do that without taxing someone else. Government cannot do that without overregulating someone else. So think about that. Don't let the media spin it to make it sound like, well, it's going to be a lot better under Kamala. Remember, we were at an all-time high in 2019. Did you hear that? Lumber prices, food was down, gas was down. Now we're at an all-time low because the economy has faltered since 2020. What that should show is you have two economies. Trump, 2016 to 2020, and then Kamala, or Biden, from 2020 to now. Which way, Western man? That's the thing you need to ask yourself. Consumer driven, where if we don't want to buy it, we don't buy it. And we shouldn't buy it. We shouldn't spend money we don't have, no doubt. But that would help the supply be high, demand be low, prices will naturally go down. Or we can allow the government just to oversee our life more, overregulate it, put a cap on what we can spend, put a cap on what we can make sure that we're getting some kind of extra tax incentives so we can turn around and take other people's money to do the things we want to do. Give everybody on an equal playing field, because that is freedom. No, that's not freedom. That's called socialism, communism, Marxism. And I think that's what we've got to decide. You want freedom? Or you want government intervention? You decide. Check out this video. Mpox is now spreading like crazy. Sweden has had problems. I mean, it's in the wastewater of San Francisco. It wasn't in the wastewater as of 2 days ago, but when WHO came out and said it was state of emergency, it's in the wastewater now. Don't be foolish. Gain wisdom. Make sure you're understanding these policies by the Harris push, the agenda, and understand that are we at the face of a new quote-unquote outbreak? You know, there's already news agencies across the world saying, is it time for another lockdown? 2 or 3 months before an election. Boy, that's coincidental. You be the judge. Guys, thank you for watching. This Home Depot warning, this fact that this lumber's gone down, the fact of Kamala wanting to take over pricing, these are some big stories. Pay attention. It all deals with your money, this economy, and how do you have the freedoms that you want to be able to spend the money that you want and make sure you can make the money you want, or do you want the government to hand it all to you? That's what you got to ask yourself. Guys, thank you for watching. God bless.